everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is the call-in show. We are here and we are ready for your calls, talking all things Erik Ten Hag, top four hopes, who's going to play in what positions, injury crisis, Luke Shaw coming back in, he's going to play left-sided centre-back, he's going to play left-back, is Varane going to go to Bayern Munich in January? Could you believe that happening? Would you want him to go? All your thoughts, get them in, get in the link below, and to join me to co-host today, we have Double A on his first call-in show, so welcome, Double A.
Thank you for having me. I really thought being drafted in an international break, it'll be a slow-paced show, nothing to talk about. I don't think we'll fit all this in an hour, Beth. I genuinely don't think we will.
There's never nothing to talk about with Manchester United. There's
true.
Something every single day. Although, having said that, the international break is really testing my patience. I am so far done with Southgate ball, it is absolutely untrue. And anyone all over the world, you might be from different countries, support different countries. I'm just done with the international break. I'm so done with it. Club football back, but is it back to hurt us just again?
It's always going to hurt you in some way, Beth. And that's, again, you said, there's always something to talk about in Manchester United. Manchester United are always going to do something to unsettle you or make you a bit upset, but that's what you sign up for when you come a Manchester United fan, especially these last 10 years. But we wouldn't have it any other way. Certainly not me. And being able to watch United again at the weekend is something you got to look forward to it, because that's what we live for.
Exactly, and I'll be watching it from the home of the Cockney Reds in London. So if anyone knows any good pubs, get them down below. But Wolf Wall says, great jumper. We can get yours in the description. The United Stand Christmas jumper, it is absolutely beautiful. I've not got mine on today, but I will be wearing it throughout the Christmas period. Get yours ordered. There's only limited edition left, so make sure you go and grab it. But let's get into the first caller if we're ready to go on that. So we have Amar talking about top four hopes. Before we get him in, Double A.
Yeah.
Will Man United get top four? Let's start it off with a prediction.
Right this second, no. But obviously it's still
So
November.
your prediction is no?
If we look at it right this second, if you have to judge right now, the way we are, the way we're performing, absolutely not. I think there's too many teams that are better than us. The good thing is we've got a long way to go to the end of the season, and we have to hope, or as fans, really wish that this team clicks. At some point it has to click, and we have to play well again. If that happens, can we then go on a run? That's what we have to kind of hope for. But right now, this second, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I agree with you. In my head as well, it's like there's only one spot really, because I think the other three is City, Liverpool, Arsenal are basically nailed
really
on.
Solid, yeah.
So there's only one spot left, and when your forwards haven't scored a goal in November, then
technically two, because the fifth place is due to get a Champions League place as well, isn't it? So there's technically 5 up this season.
And we don't know though. We don't know, Mo.
We have to hope again.
But let's get Amar's opinion in. Amar, are you with us?
Hello, Amar?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, we've got you. Why don't you take it, Double A?
So Amar, you've come in and you want to talk about Manchester United's top four hopes. I've kind of been a little bit negative there in what I'm saying, but that's just going off current form. Where do you sit on this, and do you see any hope that we could potentially get into the Champions League next season?
I think we can. I agree with Beth that it's probably only one spot that we're fighting for.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think we can. I think we just as a fan base have just become too pessimistic. Everything's always negative. If you look at the form table, like, we're on form. I get that the games are still a bit of a grind.
Yeah.
But I actually think that if you look at the details, I actually think we've turned a bit of a corner, not just obviously the results, but actually the way we're playing. We're playing far more collective. Mm-hmm. We are playing a bit more like a collective unit. It might be good enough, but it definitely seems like the players are, well, the ones who are taken to the pitch, they're definitely, I think, playing as a bit of a unit. The possession is a bit more together, I think. The teams that are playing, like the players who are playing in the main, I still think I'm not happy with Rashford's performance, but I do think we're playing a bit better. And even though, like, obviously our form is, over the start of the season has been, like, not good enough, or the style of play is not good enough, we're right up there. This happens every sort of season where early form, people start thinking that's it, it's all over. We lose to Brentford or Brighton last season, that's it. We finished third last season. It can easily happen again.
Do you think this season, obviously the start of the season has not been great. The football, you could say, has dropped off a cliff. Do you think a lot of the sort of negativity and fans being pessimistic, like you said, is due to the high expectations that we carried into this season off the back of last season, and kind of feeling sort of let down by what we're seeing on the pitch? Do you feel that's a lot to do with how the fans are feeling at the moment?
This has been going on for years. We are a yo-yo club. Like our seasons don't go from the trajectory that we want them to.
Yeah.
The same thing happened under Ollie. We got second. It wasn't a natural position. It wasn't our real level. And what happens is expectation goes so high that there's no way the manager's going to live up to that expectation. The club don't back the managers to then kick on and move forward. It was always going to be car crash after that. I think third last season was also probably a bit above the bar. I think if Ten Hag came in and let's say he just improved the style of play and maybe finished sixth from the season that we had under Oli and Ragnick, that would have been palatable. But if they've seen maybe a bit more, and then you can look at like an incremental gain. I think finishing third, fans then just think, right, that's it, we're third. We now should be kicking on. And we're just not at that stage.
Sorry, Amar, I agree with you in the sense of I think we massively overachieved with third last season, and obviously other teams dropped off as well. But I've got to say, I don't think we've necessarily been playing better. I know we've won some games like the Brentford game that we probably didn't deserve to win, the Sheffield United one, which again, but I walked away from them games really disappointed with the football we played. And do you not also think that maybe results have come because of the opposition that we're playing? We've not exactly played massive strength in opposition, and maybe this will drop off again when we have someone of real quality to play.
I watched Luton play Liverpool. I thought Luton played really well. They were breaking on Liverpool multiple times. They were like from the back. They just didn't have a striker. We all get told like before we're facing Luton, oh, Luton are going to beat us. We'll be lucky if we get anything. We then go and control the game against Luton. I'm not saying it's like the perfect style of play, but we actually kept Luton at arm's length. They didn't trouble us, and we just haven't got our shooting boots. We're just not actually we're looking a bit toothless up front. Yes, there's a problem in midfield, but we still, in the main, controlled that game, had the ball. Yes, it's too slow at the back, and we're not finding penetrative like angles or patterns of play and all that kind of stuff. But as a whole, I still think we're sort of like we are looking better. I think it's not looking better to like where you want Man United to be playing, but it's just a bit more collective. Like Maguire, I think, has been in form. I think he's trying a lot better. I think Luke Shaw coming in, I think, will be the key for this team to actually kick on. Like that actually will just make it a more formidable back four if Wan-Bissaka stays fit as well.
I mean, Amar, I really do appreciate your comments. I agree with you in the sense of Luton, definitely. If the strikers would have had the shooting boots, then another day it could have been 4-0, 100%. I think people did go a bit over the top on that performance. But Amar, thank you for getting your comments in.
We just need to ask Amar, you didn't answer your own question. Do you think we'll get top four?
Oh yeah, Amar, do you think we'll get top four?
I actually think we will. I think looking at Spurs, I think they're about to fall off a cliff. I think they've just been on this new manager bounce. They're trying to get a couple of injuries, and all we hear now is all these teams have got injuries. We've been injury stricken, and like we just don't get that. The manager probably has been saying himself that I'm not going to use injuries, and I think the fans probably need to be a bit more realistic with it and actually have a more. Okay, the manager doesn't want to say it because he wants to keep the players not have an easy excuse, but we still have to be a bit realistic and look at just how many injuries we've got.
Absolutely.
Amar's got me feeling positive.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Amar.
like you. You get me positive sometimes. Amar's done the same thing. United to win the league. Come on, why not?
Oh, Double A,
No?
don't stop. Thank you. Thank you, Amar.
No,
I think Spurs are way better than us right now, to be honest with you. But I do get his point about injuries, and I like his glass half full approach.
Playing a lot better, Spurs, but I think they've had that same problem when they've had a lot of injuries. They're falling off. They're losing games that you'd expect them to win. We have to have that hope, like I said before, that these players coming back are only going to enhance and start to gel, and the performances have to get better.
And
they just have to.
People need to put some respect on Wolves' name. They beat City and they've beat Spurs, and to be fair, they should have beat us at Old Trafford. I mean, we're not anything to go by, really. But it's not as if I don't look at Spurs losing against Wolves and think, oh my gosh, Spurs have lost against Wolves, they're going to fall off. Like, Wolves is a tough game.
It is. Away especially is really tough game, as we've seen before.
Anyway, we'll get the next caller in. So Callum says there's a problem with our front three. Which one?
Stating the obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, Callum, are you with us?
We're there, Callum.
Yeah.
Hi, Callum. Welcome to the show.
Pal.
So you have said as your topic that there's a problem with the front three. I just want to quickly ask you, I mean, where should we start with this one? There's problems all across our front three, but explain to me what you mean by that.
I just think we're very toothless. There's no I don't think any team in the Premier League are going to go into a game worried about our front three at the moment. I mean, you've seen the stat. It's just Rashford with the one goal this year from any of the front three. Obviously, Hoyland kicking it in the Champions League, but there's nothing there from in the Premier League. And I think it gets down to no service either from the wingers as well. Like the two wingers, I don't think Anthony. I don't hate on any United player, but I think Anthony there's a lot wrong with him there. I think he kind of every time he runs down the line or whatever, he just kind of goes backwards, or he'll stand at the byline, try to do something, and it'll just get nicked off him. There's just no sort of service in there for Hoyland whatsoever. I think Garnacho you might not agree with it, but I think Garnacho is more of a bench kind of impact player as well. Come on, make a difference. Yeah. Maybe a little bit too young to start now. Keep starting him. Obviously, can build into the role of becoming a starter, but at the moment, I think he's more of an impact player, and he does very well coming off the bench as well. He always kind of makes an impact off the bench.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of pressure on that young man's shoulders because of what he's done last season. Winners against Fulham and playing to a level probably a lot of people didn't expect to see. Now there's that expectation to constantly play like that every game he gets, and it's not going to happen for such a young man. So for you then, Callum, obviously the problems you see in our front three, and I often say a lot of our wide players are too greedy and our forwards are not necessarily wingers who want to create. For you then, and if you're going to have Hoyland when he's fit as your focal point, being the big money signing as a striker, who do you think best complements him to play out wide? Who would you want to pick for that?
I've no idea. That's the problem. I don't think there is many people. I mean, you look, because the thing with Rashford as well is obviously Rashford, we seen what he could do last year, but Rashford is he's the goal scorer himself off the left. He likes scoring the goals himself. And this season, there was a lot of criticism on Twitter and through punditries as well of Rashford at the start of the season. I remember Hoyland's second game, and he started it against Brighton in the Premier League, and he had about 2 or 3 chances to just hammer it across to Hoyland. And Hoyland's got the goal against Copenhagen in Champions League, the goal against Galatasaray in Champions League. The two of them were because they were drilled across the box, and he's there every time. And if Rashford or if our wingers can't do that, then there's a problem, because that's where Hoyland's best from. He's best at getting into those positions, and just
those are his strengths as a striker. Absolutely agree.
I wanted to ask you, do you think it is the players we have as in the individual talent of these players, or do you have to put a little bit on to Erik ten HAG for, one, keep picking the players that are doing these things that are resulting in us having a poor conversion rate across the front three, or also maybe on the coaching of some of the players?
Yeah, it's definitely on both sides of things. Like, it's if top quality managers and coaches can see these things, that these things are happening, and if they're watching the game every time, they've got top tier analysts and stuff to analyze these things, who, if us as fans can see it every game that there's no service, then it should be brought back onto them as well, that there's no sort of there's no criticism in it. Obviously there has to be something brought back to coaches and management as well, but it is on the players as well, in the sense of Rashford, like I said, kind of the goal scorer himself. Garnacho likes to goal himself. He does create as well when he comes on. And Anthony. He's his own thing.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Thank you very much for getting your comments in. I agree with him. When you look, for example, Double A, before we get this next caller in, when you look at the top 6 by midfield, attack, defence, and I literally look at the attack, and I think we are bottom. Like, no debate, bottom.
I'd go further than the top 6. I think you look in the Premier League, we probably have one of the most toothless. Villa. I think we have one of the most toothless forward lines in the league at the moment.
Below Brighton, you'd even say, because they've got Matoma who's tearing things up.
It's one of them going back, and you think, a lot of people trust in Rashford to eventually get that goal and go on that run that he seems to when he gets one goal. You have to hope that's going to come. But it is both sides of the coin. The players are playing within themselves and playing for themselves invariably a lot of the time, especially the wide players. But it does come down to coaching. You're absolutely spot on. The coaching needs to be better, and we need to have a formulated plan of how we want to play further up the pitch, because at the moment it's too ponderous, it's too slow, and it's easy to read. And in the Premier League, which is such a dangerous league, every team is dangerous. These defences are not stupid, and they'll quickly realise what your game plan is, and they'll nullify it quite easily. And one criticism I had of Anthony was he needs to add variation to his game. If he doesn't do that, going on the right, using the right a bit more, chopping it up, not just cutting in and wanting to shoot. These fullbacks in this league will absolutely tear you apart and lock you up, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. So we really need to start to vary what we're doing going forward to start having some success there.
Definitely. I mean, our next caller is James. James wants to talk about Shaw's favourite position. This is an interesting one. Will he come back in on left-sided centre-back, or will he come back in on left-back? James, are you with us?
You're right, guys. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. Nice to speak to you.
Well, good. Thank you for coming on the show. So, where do you see Shaw slotting back in? We're assuming he's going to be back in the squad for the Everton game. Probably won't maybe come in till the game after that, trying to ease him back in. But where do you see him coming back in? Is it left back or left-sided centre-back for you?
Well, where I'd like to see him play is left back, because obviously that's Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's a left back. That's where he's played for United for years. He didn't do awful when he went in at centre back, but
No.
What I said earlier is if you look at a left back playing as a centre back, he did all right. But if you look at just an overall centre back performance, Luke Shaw isn't that great, right? He did well to adapt to that position, but I don't think he's great in that centre back position. I want to see him on the left back position. I want to see him play balls forward, get forward like he does. Maybe try find a pass to Højlund if he can, play it down the wing to Rashford, do those overlapping runs, get himself in that box and try create a few goals, because United have been awful so far. And I think Luke Shaw can potentially help us be a bit more dangerous going forward, especially on that left side. And Rashford does need help on that left side, because Rashford just isn't doing it.
No, I agree. I think, there's been some criticism of Luke Shaw. He's never really hit the heights of what was expected of him in a Manchester United shirt, but you definitely see how much he brings to this team when he's not in the squad, and we've missed him for so long. The problems we've had at left back, having to play Delo there, is someone that we definitely need to get back. I agree with you. I think when he played at centre back, especially in the new camp, we was calling him Paul Luke Shaw Dini myself.
Can I just say, I think Luke Shaw's top in both positions. I think he's
great.
I know he filled in at left-sided centre-back, but I think he's a top left-sided centre-back from what I've seen. But like James has just said, we need him at left back. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if you ask most teams in the Premier League who is Man United's who would most teams want to come into their team, Luke Shaw would be up there, and people laugh, but I think he's brilliant.
I think he's definitely one of the best left backs in the league for sure, and I think there's a lot of teams, even bigger teams than us, would take him absolutely. I think on form, there's not many better than him. So for you then, James, obviously Shaw coming back in the team, do you think that's going to help Rashford? I think he's missed Luke Shaw massively behind him. Do you think when he comes back in the team, we might see a little bit more of a confident Marcus Rashford?
Yeah, definitely. I really do think that. I think Luke Shaw and Rashford get on very well. Obviously, play with England together. They, play at Manchester United together. They've played together for years. They have a good understanding of how each other play the game. Rashford's been struggling. He needs help anyway, which is very clear to see. And I think Luke Shaw is definitely the man to give him help at the left back. I'd pick Luke Shaw over left back than most left backs in the Premier League, as you said there. I think Luke Shaw at full fitness is absolutely brilliant. He can go forward, he can defend, and I think he's going to be a key player going forward, and see where Man United can actually end up this season, because at this point I don't see us getting top four, but if Luke Shaw comes in and helps us defensively and helps us going forward, then I could really see a chance of getting top four here. I think Luke Shaw can completely change this Manchester United team.
Yeah,
James, I wanted to ask you, what's your strongest back four then when Luke Shaw's back? Who would be your starting back four for Man United?
All fitness or currently?
Everyone's fit.
Currently with the players that we've got. So everyone will be fit, bar in the back four, which we've not had for ages. Everyone will be fit, bar Martinez when Shaw's back, and Malacia, obviously.
I'd do Raphael Varane. Might get hate for this. I'd do Harry Maguire. He's generally not been that bad for us over the last couple of weeks, to be fair, Harry Maguire.
Do you think they can complement each other, them two, though, James?
Sorry, who?
Do you think they can complement each other? Because a lot of times you see Varane and Maguire play together, and you maybe see them better with different partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see them better with different partners, but at the end of the day, I think they're our two best centre-backs at the moment, and I think you know, Harry Maguire could play very different with Luke Shaw there as well. You know, it's that extra defensive support as well. I put Aaron Wan-Bissaka on that right side over Diogo Dalot. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is still the best one-on-one defender, potentially in the league. I genuinely do believe that. He's just brilliant. So my back four would be Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire and Luke Shaw.
I think I'd agree with that. I think, you know, I'm not a biggest fan of Maguire, but you can't fault his form for Manchester United the last couple of weeks. Rafael Varane, I think they've had a couple of games they've looked well. I remember Wolves away, one of Varane's first games in his first season. He was absolutely fantastic together in that game. And yeah, for me, Wan-Bissaka is our best right back still. I still think he offers a lot more for me in what we need as a team at the moment in building that solid base in defence than what Diogo Dalot can. I know you massively disagree.
I don't massively disagree. I think I can't really pick that much between them both, and I won't spend ages on this topic, but I don't think either of them are good enough really to be first choice.
No.
But with Wan-Bissaka, we saw at Copenhagen his weaknesses: bad on the ball and can put you in a spot of difficulty and doesn't really provide.
But then we saw Dalot's, didn't we, as well?
And then Dalot switches off and. But Dalot's a better footballer. It's a tough one, but Wan-Bissaka's a better all-round defender.
Exactly.
He's still fun. He's a really
all-round defender. Yeah. He's definitely all-around defender. He's definitely better. Can I ask you a question really quickly, Beth?
Go on.
Just about the back four. Who would you put as the two centre backs? Just out of curiosity, who would you put as our two centre backs?
Oh, it's a tough one. I would probably go with. Varane and Maguire. Yeah. Same as you. Right now, I would, but I'd be I'd go with Varane and Maguire. If it was a game where, for example, Anfield away, I think I'd go with Varane and Lindelof. Because I don't think I can trust Maguire in a game like Liverpool away, and it's not as if they have much threat height-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have corners, but I mean through their attacking players. So I would go with Varane and Maguire for now, but when we do get to Liverpool away in December, depending on who's on form, obviously things come into factor. But for a game like that where you're going to get pressed really high up the pitch, I would opt for someone different than Maguire, because we see what happens when he gets pressed sometimes. There's mistakes in him, like we saw for England as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I would go with, James.
Yeah, great call, James. Honestly,
James, thank you.
Some really good points. Thanks, and putting us on the spot there with our back four.
Yeah, exactly. What would yours be?
Same as James. I think that's the best one for now.
Darren Mulaney says, do you think we should get an attacking coach and even better coaches full stop? I hope with Jim we can start getting younger players to join. Darren, I think we need our forward players. One is confidence. I think is a big thing, but two, there needs to be more done on the training ground. There's absolutely for certain, and I'm all for. We need to hit the right age bracket. Sometimes we go, and I mean, there's never such thing as too young, because you want to get players in early doors to develop. But I think we have this thing of going for like 19, 20-year-olds, and then 31-year-olds. We need to be hitting that sweet spot.
That middle section. Yeah. There is that old adage they used to say, if you're good enough, you're old enough, sort of thing. But you know, we do need to be complementing younger players with these more experienced in their prime players. But we know players like that at the top level cost a premium. And then you add on Manchester United tax, it starts to get out of hand, the prices we get touted for in the prime players.
Because we have bad negotiators,
exactly that
people
as well,
in charge, but not bad, like just not well
not
equipped.
Good.
So, I mean, Ricky's going to kill me for not mentioning Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans injured, so that's why I didn't pick him. But he would definitely be a shout if he was fit. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
He's been great.
He's been good.
He's been
very good.
He's been good.
But anyway, next caller, we have, I'll let you take this one at Double A. So it's Caleb, and he's talking about the ideal targets for the January window. I honestly think we're going to get maybe a loan at best.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get Wout Weghorst Savitzer Part 2. If I'm being honest with you, I don't have much hope, especially after speaking to Romano yesterday. If you've not seen that show, please go and watch it. It was really good. But just plugging myself there.
Nice little plug
Double
there.
A, you can take this one on January targets for the window, and explain yours as well, and we'll see what Caleb has to say.
Yeah, for me personally, I agree with what you're saying. You know, we are NatWest, aren't we? The best at loans in January. That's pretty much where we stand at the moment. But Caleb, let's talk to you. January window is fast approaching. What do you see Manchester United doing, and where do you think we really need to focus on in bringing players in?
Yo, what up, guys? I just want to say hello, Bethany. Hello, Triple A. I
Triple A.
just think the January window, I think we should possibly look at re-signing a striker, maybe to help Rasmus Højlund. I reckon that it wouldn't really be a bad idea if we did bring back Weghorst. Only saying that because did you guys see his goal the other day when he spun the defender? It was genuinely, I don't think I've literally ever seen anything like it. Genuinely, I literally jumped off my seat and I was thinking to myself, why did we not sign Weghorst permanently? But yeah, that's just my thoughts about signing him back in January. And I also think maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea if we let Jadon Sancho go to get Christian Pulisic in. Obviously, LeBron James of soccer, and I reckon that he would be a really good addition if Jadon Sancho was to leave the club.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick drink, Caleb, because I think I heard you say you want to bring Weghorst back to United. Is that true? Just so before we start.
Yeah, I think we should bring back Weghorst, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I can hear the producer laughing from the
yeah, I mean, listen, I understand Weghorst really did become a cult hero at Old Trafford, and you know.
Don't dress it up or dress it down.
No,
Weghorst isn't coming back, and we shouldn't want him to
no. I'm just trying to, I don't want to blast Caleb here because he's come on and made some great points.
Great points, joking, Caleb.
For a call. Yeah, so he was a cult hero. You could tell Old Trafford were desperate for him to score, but Caleb, honestly, he's one of the worst signings I think we've ever made at Manchester United. He clearly was there just to fill a hole. I think.
Did you not see his goal, bro?
I mean, yeah, but who's he playing for now? Is it Wolfsburg?
Caleb, what have you been doing this afternoon? Have you started the mulled wine early? It's not December yet, Caleb. You're on the mulled wine early?
Did y'all not see Weghorst's goal? It was unbelievable.
Do you see him doing that at Old Trafford, though, against Liverpool? Do you see him doing that for any...
1,000,000%. Liverpool is his game, bro.
Do you see why?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So a lot of fans were disappointed with the fact that Erik and HAG got rid of Ronaldo and brought in Weghorst.
Yeah.
I mean, are they two strikers that you think we should have tried to keep?
I'm telling you now, we would have won the league if we had a front three consisting of Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Weghorst. I'm telling you now.
Producer,
Right.
Can you find out what Caleb's been having during today? Because I wish I had your positivity and outlook, Caleb, because I saw what Ronaldo was doing before he left at the start of last season, as did Beth. I also saw firsthand what Weghorst is bringing to the team. I think we would have struggled to get top four if them two had been seeing out the season.
I'm still not over the fact that he said that we should go and get Pulisic. Is that because? And I'm not just.
I'm still not over Triple A, to be honest with you.
Sorry, I'm not. Caleb, I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but I'm pretty sure that you are American. And Pulisic is also of the American origin, so you probably watch him for the USA quite a lot. I'm assuming that's why you'd want him to bring him to Man United. But do you not think that Man United need to avoid injury-prone players and maybe go for players that are just coming through?
Well, I'll ask you this, Bethany. If we don't sign Christian Pulisic, then who else do we sign?
There's many different options out there if you look around Europe.
If you can give me a better option than Christian Pulisic, then I will give you $50.
As a wide player, a wide right player? I don't think we need to buy a wide right player. I think we've got Ahmad coming back. I think we've got Pulisic that we need to give more chances to. We've got Garnacho, we've got Rashford, we've got Anthony as well. We've got options there.
It's Elizabeth, by the way. It's Elizabeth.
Do you think that Garnacho is better than Pulisic?
Absolutely, 100%. In the Premier League, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, Pulisic having a great season with AC Milan. The Serie A is very different to the Premier League. We saw Pulisic not do it enough for Chelsea during his time. And I think for a player who with a ceiling, Garnacho, for me, is better than Pulisic, and I would put my faith in him a lot more than I would Pulisic coming. And like Beth said, or Elizabeth, sorry, very injury-prone player is something we need to avoid for sure.
all
Caleb?
Triple A, man.
Triple A is killing me.
Caleb, is there anything else that you want to get off your chest before we wrap this call up?
I mean, can I just say, can y'all promise me that if we sign Weghorst or Pulisic in January, that I'll be allowed back on the show?
If we sign either of those two players, if you get yourself to Manchester, you can have my season ticket for one game. That's how.
Don't put it past Man United.
I'll promise you that, Caleb. I'll promise you that, Caleb.
Thanks, man.
Wait, I want to ask him one last thing. I'm going to try a serious question.
Okay.
Caleb, do you think we should sell Varane to Bayern Munich?
I think that Raphael Varane, brilliant centre back, but I do not think he should join Bayern Munich.
I agree with
that. So you
that.
think we should keep him at Manchester United?
I think Raphael Varane should stay at our soccer club, and we need to get people like Victor Lindelof off the books first.
Oh, that's
Interesting.
Okay. Interesting stuff. See what the chat thinks about that. But thank you, Caleb, for calling in. Absolute legend.
If we have a call at the show, I don't think anyone is going to touch you today, mate. You've been fantastic.
What it is? Caleb is the American Ricky.
Well, someone needs to be.
Apart from Ricky loves Lindelof.
Someone needs to be.
Yeah. But thank you very much, Caleb,
Thank you, Caleb.
for joining the call-in show. That took me a bit off guard. Perked me up. On a Tuesday.
The Triple A was killing me. I won't get away from that now. I'm going to have to change my name. And Elizabeth.
I'm going to call you Triple A from now on.
I'll call you Elizabeth. It's fine. We've got new pet names for each other. Why not?
Exactly. Everyone, smash a like on the call-in show if you're enjoying it. Bit of a wild and wacky caller then. No disrespect. Obviously, I would never call someone, say that they're maybe calling in for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But who knows, that might be his genuine football opinion.
That it could. For his soccer club, as he likes to call it. He was brilliant. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Fun. You need a bit of fun. He mixed up. He took us. He caught us off guard. Well done to you, Caleb. It was fantastic.
Get in the comments what you think about that. And if anyone can find Caleb's socials, get them in, because I'm going to message him after this.
I feel like I'm going to get a message now about my season ticket as well.
He'll be looking for you.
He will.
Triple A.
Well, he won't find me because I'm not Triple A, am I?
Next up, we have Kosa talking centre-back issues and Raphael Varane. Kosa, are you with us?
Hello, Kosa.
Kosa, are you there?
Hello.
Afternoon.
We're still in America. Kosa, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me once again. What I wanted to talk about, Raphael Varane.
Go on.
No, I'm Georgian. I'm from Georgia too.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
So go on.
Okay, so I really think we have to stick with Varane until the end of the summer, until the end of the season. I would not let him go in January, to be honest, because I'm still not 100% sure that we are going to buy a center back in January, even though there are many rumors. So if we let Varane go, it's going to have, whether we like it or not, it's going to have a huge problem in our defense. So I still don't trust Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof to sustain the performances, especially Harry Maguire, because we've seen what he's done lately. And I'm not disrespecting the guy, but I really don't trust the player to play for the whole season like he's doing right now. And we have to keep in mind that he played well against below average teams like Luton, Sheffield, and so on. So when he got really tested against Man City, like him and Johnny Evans, they made quite a lot of mistakes on the goals, which we conceded. Like especially the third one, him and Johnny Evans both fell asleep on the Foden goal when Rodri took the shot. So I still think that Varane is our best centre back, and I would pair him with Luke Shaw as a centre back duo and have Wan-Bissaka on the right and probably Dalot on the left, or maybe Reguilon. So it depends on the form.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Coach. Absolutely. I'm a massive fan of Rafa Varane. Absolutely made up when we signed him. But for me, playing devil's advocate, and I'll throw this back onto you, do you think with the constant injuries and you know, the bad form he's shown so far this season, and also, you know, the rumours that there's discontent behind the scenes in the dressing room, you know, potential fallout with the manager, you know, he's on the wrong side of 30 now. Do you think if, you know, Manchester United in January get a great bid for him from a Bayern Munich or from from someone, you know, Saudi Arabia or anywhere like that, do you think it's probably best right now for Manchester United to potentially cash in on Rafa Varane, go and get Todibo, go and get a younger centre-back we can have in, you know, there's good cover there, we've got Martinez coming back, Shaw coming back, who can cover at centre-back. Do you think if all those factors weigh up to it's possibly best for Varane to go, would you be behind Manchester United cashing in on him at all?
I won't be against it, to be honest, but I don't think that Bayern Munich are going to buy Varane in the January, because I don't think Bayern Munich are overspenders. I don't think Man United are going to release Varane for like 15, 20 million.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening, and I don't see Varane going to Saudi Arabia or MLS or something like that for big money, at least for now. So that's why I don't think that Man United sell Varane to Bayern for like pennies for the player of his kind. So that's why I still would like to keep him. I don't know if it's a fallout between him and Ten Hag, but we don't exactly know that from his body language in the last game against Copenhagen. Yeah, you could not happy,
Something's
but
not right.
when you are Rafael Varane, the 5-time Champions League winner and a born winner for Real Madrid, it's kind of frustrating when you don't have a game time and when you see the player who came in for short term, I'm talking about Johnny Evans, starting ahead of you. It's I understand his frustration, but
Absolutely.
I think he's a professional. I don't think he's some kind of an egotistical maniac like some players, which I don't want to talk about at the moment. So I think he's going to suck it up and perform and be professional about it, at least until the end of the season.
No,
Kosa, I honestly think you are spot on with that. I think Varane and Erik Ten Hag behind the scenes, I think everything is okay, to be honest with you. I think obviously Varane's frustrated like anyone would be. And you would expect a player of his ilk to be frustrated. I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to channel that in the right way, and I think he's a top professional. And I don't think he would cop out in January if it wasn't a great offer
100%.
and Man United wanted him to go. I don't think that'd happen. And honestly, I love Varane. The only thing that makes me want to move on from him, which I think we should do actually in the summer, I'd be very open to selling him, is because of his injury record. I just can't be bothered with a player being injured one week and then fit the next, injured one week, fit the next. I just don't think you get to see the best out of him that way.
It's hurting the team.
You don't see the best out of Varane.
Counter on you on that, if I may. I can make an argument that if we don't sell him I don't mind keeping him until his contract runs out or something, because if we are going to sign Todibo or some younger center back, I think he's going to have more rotation than he had before, like the last season, where Ten Hag clearly did not trust Maguire or Lindelof to take his spot, and he, by his injury records, got overplayed, I think. I still think that if we keep Varane and have Todibo alongside him, they would complement each other very good in the sense of a rotation. So I would actually sell Lindelof and Maguire and keep Rafael Varane, then keep one of them and sell Varane and another one. So that's my opinion, because I really like the player. But if we're gonna get big money from him from Saudi, then of course we have to sell him, because we also need reinforcements in the different areas as well. So
I agree, because to hit you with your own point, kind of, you're saying, you know, keep Varane and bring Todibo in, but you know, you have to remember that Martinez is definitely Ten Hag's guy, and he's probably going to start when he is fit. But like you said, you know, this is Varane, Champions League winning Varane. He's a player that's used to playing the prestige, winning all these trophies. I don't think he's gonna, and you can see it now, he's not taking kindly to being taken out of the team. So if a younger centre back in his position comes in that you expect he's going to start alongside Martinez, I think Varane himself, knowing his mentality, will probably want to leave, because he's thinking, I've only got a few years left at the top level.
True.
I need to be playing football week in, week out, and it's not going to happen at Manchester United. I need to go and explore options for me where I can do this.
True, and plus as well, sorry Kosa, but I agree with the fact, even though Maguire's playing well, I still think we should sell him eventually. But with Lindelof, I think he's the perfect rotational centre back.
I'd keep him.
He can play full back if needs be. I know it's not great, but he can do it, and he knows his place in the squad. I'd keep him at the moment, especially considering his age and injury issues.
Yes, I agree. Yes, Beth, I agree, but I think Lindelof's contract is going to run out very soon. And do you think that it's worth for us to give him a new contract?
If he knows his
I
place, yeah.
don't.
28, and he's not going to be on
Yeah, but his
extortionate
age is
wages.
not.
I don't think his
Age
wages
is
are going to be
come up
too
for
bad.
him as well.
Yeah,
So.
I think another 5-year contract for him. If you take it 4 with an option of a 5th, I'd give that to him. 32 on not massive wages. I think it's a good squad signing.
I think if he knows his place in the squad, then yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
thank you, Kosa, for
thank you
joining
so
us.
much,
Good to get
Kosa.
different opinions
Really
in.
good
Sure.
opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, let's move swiftly on because I feel like we spoke about what we need to speak about there with the centre backs. And interesting to get your guys' opinion. There's a big debate going on around Varane at the moment. Some people want to get rid, some people want to sell. I think he's still a little bit underrated, but I have been frustrated with him.
I've always loved him, but I think you could do that for most of the squad, Beth. I think, honestly, genuinely, I think our squad, I've never seen a United squad really be so 50-50 in a lot of fans' minds. Some hate them, some absolutely love them and back them to the hilt. And it's really strange that we're in this position where a lot of fans are not too sad on many of our players going if it came to it.
Well, you know what you say about opinions.
Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one.
But some of them are wrong.
And, well, next up we have Luca, who wants to talk about Mount and Mainoo's involvement. This is going to be really interesting.
You're going to love this one.
It's a topic I wanted to get into. Eriksen, sadly, is injured, which I am generally sad about that because I think he's not an all-rounder, but he's got qualities. We shouldn't be relying on him to be a starter, but we have been because that's where we're at in the squad. Yeah. Can Mount and Mainoo maybe come in and fill that void? Luca, are you with us?
Hello, Luca.
Beth, hello, Double A. How are things?
Hi, I'm all good on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for coming on the show. So first of all, I want to say, obviously, the midfield is probably still going to have Bruno and McTominay in. Mm-hmm. It is with Erik ten Hag the way he's lined up, but it has got one position to fill now in the sense of Eriksen, who has been his starting midfield has been Bruno, McTominay and Eriksen. Yeah. Now it looks like, well, Eriksen is injured and he's going to be injured for at least a few weeks. Who comes into that role for you? Who comes into that spot out of our current squad?
Well, I feel like the safest option would be Mount. You know, I know you, Beth, yourself are a fan of Mount, but he hasn't really shown much yet. And, like, you know, we have to give him time, of course. I was at the Luton game myself, and when he came on, I thought he had a positive impact. Wasn't, you know, 100% up to scratch, 60 million signing, but he seems to have a good attitude, even coming off the bench. You know, he's not looking, I don't know, frustrated or anything like that. So I suppose it will be Mount. I've already seen much of him myself.
Do you think it's got enough defensive capabilities in it? McTominay, Mount, and Bruno in a midfield three.
I don't think so, to be honest. I don't know if Mount and Bruno can actually play together. Yeah. We're gonna have to see, you know. I think I know he's going to play McTominay. I feel like if you try Amrabat, Mount, and Bruno, we'd see something a bit different. See, Mount has to drop back to give Bruno the license because he's obviously earned that now, you know. Yeah. But I don't know if Mount can play that box to box, you know.
Well, he came out and said that he can and he's willing to play the number 8 role. So you have to believe that he's had these conversations with the manager. Where I sit with Mount, obviously, I'm not going to go into everything, obviously, not being a fan of the signing as it was when we made it, but he's here now. He's a Manchester United player. You know, he's our marquee signing, the one we chased all summer, clearly the player the manager wants. So now it really is on Erik ten Hag and the club to make Mason Mount fit in this team. And it's worrying to me that he doesn't have a place in the team yet. Now, if he's a place for him to play, he needs to play. He needs to play 5 or 6 games now if he's fit consistently. And let's see what Mason Mount can offer to this team. I think it's time now we have to trust in Mason Mount because, like you said, he's a brilliant professional. He's not moaned. He's obviously working hard to get back into the team. Do you think it's now time that the manager gives him that license to say, go and show me exactly what you can do in a Manchester United shirt?
Yeah, well, 100%, because we know that he was Ten Hag's first signing. And he obviously had some sort of idea for him. Yeah. Whether that involved McTominay, I don't know. But, you know, that's how football goes. But yeah, 100%. He has to just say to him now, like, he has say to him and do a show your true colours. Like, I wasn't much of a, I wouldn't say I not that I wasn't a fan of him, but I didn't really rate him that much at Chelsea. Yeah. I don't watch the Chelsea games, so I didn't watch them in depth. But we have to give him. You can't knock him down.
I agree with you, Luca, in the sense, I think you're just cutting out a little bit, but I agree with you in the sense of that, you know, he hasn't done anything really special since he's come in, but I also think a lot of people are being quite harsh, and when you look at how the rest of our players performed, I think when given the opportunity, he's actually done quite well. I thought off the bench against Luton, he did very well when he came on as well. Again, he wasn't, you know, pulling up any trees, which is obviously what you expect, but I actually have watched, I've always been to the Premier League and I've watched a lot of games closely. I've watched a lot of games for him for Chelsea. He did have a bad season for Chelsea, but in them first 2 seasons he came through, he was excellent. I know what type of player he can be. You know my opinions in the sense of, I think Erik ten Hag had a plan with Mount, and if anyone's seen the video of him talking about playing with 2 10s at Ajax and the way that he does it and how off the ball movement and the intelligence of the players is really crucial in this system. I really do think Erik ten Hag wanted to implement that this year. I don't think the squad have taken to it, and I don't think he's been able to do it in the Premier League, and I think he found that out quite quickly. It's very clear that the way Eriksen and Mount play when in that role is very different. Mount is clearly being told to go and press from the front. Eriksen's not being told to do that. Eriksen's dropping deeper. A lot of the time with Eriksen, he's the deepest midfielder back, some of the time. So I think Erik ten Hag is telling Eriksen and he's telling Mount to play 2 different roles. I think if the manager told Mount to sit back and sit a little bit, I think Mount would do that. He's got great relationship with managers everywhere he's been. So for me, I think it's Erik ten Hag has bought Mount to be a system player, but that system hasn't been implemented, and unfortunately, Mount's getting the brunt of that. I think
that's what happens when you're the marquee signing. You're the one that's, you know, Anthony's another version of that from last season. You know, he was bought as a system player. That's what he was labelled as. And obviously he's not worked out the same way at this moment in time that we're seeing. Mount's not doing, like, I'm with you, never really a fan of him, Luca, before he come to United. But I do speak to Chelsea fans, and Chelsea fans have a different opinion of him slightly as a person now, but they will still tell you now that he's a fantastic footballer, and we have to believe that Erik ten Hag, while he's the Manchester United manager, he's going to bring that out of him eventually in this team.
Luca, lastly, you can say your point, and I'll just ask you as well, thoughts on Mainoo maybe getting more game time and the future of Amrabat, because he's not really been having a look in as well.
Yeah, I was at the Luton game and I was surprised he wasn't starting, and I think that would have been a perfect game for him. Amrabat, I'm not really sure. Mainoo, you might as well give him game time, especially against Everton, like less pressure against Everton Champions League, especially now with their appointed whole thing. So I think even 10, 15, 20 minutes against Everton to see, you know, depending on how the game's going, of course. I'm not going to bring him on for.
It was such a shame that he got injured in pre-season, because we really thought we was onto something. The games he played over in America, he looked fantastic, and we thought, brilliant, we've got that. You know, you could even think we wouldn't have even got Amrabat, I don't think, because Mainoo was really slotting into that first team. And like I say, it's such a shame. Do you think, again, he's going to have to be a player that, similar to Garnacho, there's a lot of expectation on him, that Ten Hag, he's doing the right thing at the moment and really, you know, treating him with kid gloves and just going to introduce him slowly back into the fold? Do you think that's the right thing for him to do?
Yeah, I think he has to introduce him slowly and don't throw him in the deep end in 2 Champions League games that we have to win.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be unfair on him. That's why Everton, nice. I know we're still under pressure in the league as well, but Champions League are 2 must-win games.
Luca, sorry. I'm so sorry, but you just keep cutting out, so I'm gonna have to move on to the next call. But thank you so much, Luca. Brilliant joining the show, and some good points there made. Thank you for that. Thank you. I mean, we're running towards the end of the show, but some great points on different players there. So I want to kind of get as many people as we can in as possible. We'll go to Rock next, and then we'll bring in Shaf after that. So Rock wants to talk a little bit about the centre-back situation. I mean, we've spoke about that quite a lot, so we will do it. But Rock, centre-back situation, also give us your thoughts on the potential of Erik ten Hag being able to get top 4, and mainly as well, I think the next 6 games, if you look at them, and the games that Man United have to face, you've got Everton, you've got Galatasaray, you've got Newcastle, we've got Bournemouth,
Villa.
We've got the other one is a tough game. It's a tough game. Chelsea, that's the one.
That's the one.
So we've got a lot of tough games coming up. Bayern Munich in there as well. Yeah. So have your thoughts on top 4 Champions League, and then obviously talk about the centre back situation as well.
Yeah, that's calm. I'll say with the centre back situation, yeah, I'll get it done out of the way quick. People got to realise that Lindelof, right? His contract's over this summer. He's 29 years old. He's going to be 30 in July. Giving him a new contract, I don't think is wise. I understand that he's a good player, but this is an opportunity to bring in more players.
Okay.
Johnny Evans is going to be gone in 2024 as well. So that's 2 spots for the centre backs gone. We need to get rid of Harry Maguire as well. So that there's 3. You can't get rid of a class centre back like Varane. And Varane stopped his international career so he could advance his club career. So I think if we bring in Tadibo, another young centre back, if Ten Hag has a conversation with him saying, listen, you know about your injuries, let's give you the rotation with Tadibo or someone like that, I think Varane would be more than happy, you know?
I hope so. I hope that's the case. Like I said, I just don't see Manchester United letting go of Evans, Maguire and Lindelof in one summer. I think one of them will definitely survive.
We're definitely going to sign a centre-back, 100%.
Yeah, I think we need to.
I think we need to.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I just don't see Manchester United allowing that to happen, 3 centre-backs going. I know Evans will go on a free and potentially Lindelof. I genuinely think, and even though it's bad to thinking of the summer transfer window, I think Maguire may have saved his Manchester United career at the moment. I think he's probably least likely to leave out of those 3. And obviously he doesn't want to go. And he's proved if he doesn't want to go, he's not going to. He's going to stay and fight for his place, which he has done. But for you then, who would you bring in? You talk about 2 centre-backs to bring in, Rock. Who are the 2 you'd like to bring in?
But Tadibo's got to be one of them. I think he's model of centre back. The fast pacey centre back has been working for teams all over this country, man, even across Europe. So I think he's a perfect one. Personally, I think I know it's a long shot, but the Lit is a player that Ten Hag's worked with. No, he's a real leader. If we were able to get him in the summer, then you've got your Varane, Martinez, Tadibo, and the Lit. Oh, that's scary to me. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think the Lit still got that though? Because I know there's a lot of people that are talking about him. He's not quite the same player that was at Ajax. I know Juve kind of didn't work out for him. He's at Bayern now, and you know he's kind of in and out of that team a little bit from what I've seen. Do you think the Lit's still a top quality centre back and worthy of a shot at United? Yeah.
I think definitely he hasn't lived up to the hype yet. But people forget he's still only 23 years old.
True,
I think he's got the character. He's shown everywhere he's gone he's been a leader. Even at Juve, he tried to be a leader. But right now he's in a sticky situation. They just brought in Kim Min-jae. They got Upamecano who they're back into the hills. Yeah. So I think it's difficult here. He's really got a place at United if United go to get him. You know what I mean? Also, I'd like to touch on the top 4. I think top 4 is wide open. These people saying that Man United won't be able to get it, I think they're clueless, man.
Rock, I think it's based on the way that we're playing.
Yeah, on current form, that's why I'm so pessimistic about it. Rock, honestly.
Right, Rock. Let's take it to here. Out of our upcoming games in the Premier League, let me just quickly get them up. You tell me.
Everton, Newcastle.
You tell me
Chelsea,
the points that we're going to get from
Bayern
this.
As well, isn't it?
So we've got Everton away, which is a tough game. We've then got Newcastle at home. Sorry, not Newcastle at home. Newcastle at St James's Park. Yeah. Chelsea at home, who look good. Bournemouth, who you would think is going to be 3 points, but even they've taken they took points off Newcastle. I know it was at their home, but still. And then we've got Liverpool at Anfield. Do you really see Man United picking up many points in that run?
Right now.
Do you know what? I'll tell you this. I think it's make or break. I honestly think it's make or break for Ten Hag. The people who want Ten Hag out, this will either strengthen their case or it will absolutely destroy their case. And we've got Luke Shaw coming back. I think will be a huge help. The Galatasaray game is the biggest game of the season so far because if we can manage to put UCL qualification in our own hands against Bayern, I think that's something. Do you know what I mean? We've got to get to that point.
Yeah. That's...
You know, but my point is, right, he's had another 2 weeks to work with the team. I think I really don't think Maguire is going to play. I honestly don't think he's going to get a lot of games in these coming fixtures. I think Varane, Luke Shaw, and Lindelof will be the ones he turns to.
I hope so.
Interesting stuff, Rock. Well, thank you so much for joining the call-in show. Wish we had more time, but we don't. But thank you, Rock. Always a pleasure. Next one, I just want to quickly get in somebody before we wrap up the show. I know we're nearly wrapped, but I remember Shaf. and he was the caller. I feel like that started the whole Faz Zidane thing. Love Faz, by the way, but he was just absolutely...
That was a great call. I'm not like Faz, by the way, Shaf. You don't have to come for me,
It's just
mate.
hilarious because Shaf just fully called Faz out. And, you know, he might call me out, but Shaf, can we bring him in? He says that Ten Hag needs support. Probably why I went for Faz, because Faz has been quite harsh on Erik Ten Hag. But
hello,
Shaf,
Shaf.
you with us?
How are you? Right?
I'm good,
to
thank
speak
you.
to you.
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to talk about how I believe, you know, before we appointed Ten Hag to now, how the goalposts have moved both by the fans and the media.
Yeah.
So, like, I recall that obviously Ten Hag, he signed a 3-year contract, and his aims at the time, which seemed impossible, was Champions League qualification, developing youth, and improving individual players like Rashford, i.e. Rashford. I think Rashford was actually name dropped.
Yeah.
So if you look at that brief that he was given in his first season, Rashford smashed it. He has dropped now, but that's been a Rashford problem, and I think he's working on it. He's not left him out to dry.
Yeah.
In terms of Champions League, lest we forget the fact that not only did we qualify for Champions League, we won a cup, which is a bonus, and got into another final. And Mainu, like, it's easy to say, oh, Mainu's talented, he would have gone in regardless, but he actually, if you remember the pre-season games, until he got injured, Mainu was like a gem. We were all watching in awe. And not just the fact that he threw him the team, but the minutes he gave him and the role he had him playing.
Yeah.
Now, these are all things, even Ten Hag, he's working now, I feel like, with one hand, two hand tied behind his back. It's almost like he's, you know, riding a bicycle, the bicycle's on fire, and he's expected to juggle as well. Like, if you look at the discourse, with him, he's young. If you remember Ragnick recommended him, and he also said, United can fix these issues. If they look at, they can fix it in 1 window, in 2 windows, in 3 windows, but they can fix it. But if you look at what we did in those windows, we sold Ronaldo, okay, difficult circumstances, whatever. We replaced him with Weghorst, and we got Sabitzer on loan, and he still got to 2 finals. So, mind you, Sabitzer, just the other day, he has no loyalty to Ten Hag. He did that article,
interview,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and honestly, Shaf, I'm going to let you finish, but I think he went massively under the radar. If no one's read it, you should go and read Sabitzer's interview. He, if anything, maybe could have gone away feeling better because he wanted to stay at Man United, and Ten Hag didn't offer him to stay, and he still spoke very highly of him, which I think says a lot.
It says a lot about Ten Hag, for sure.
And you know, the fans, the thing is, I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, but you know, with our fans, it's like they're in a toxic marriage with the club. You know, like how those people in a toxic relationship, rather than focus on solving your relationship, you're like, oh, but what about so-and-so's husband? What about so-and-so's wife? That's literally what we do. But the thing is, so-and-so's wife, like the other day I spoke to Faz when he clapped at Zidane, and we spoke about, what's his name, De Zerbi. When you show their faults, then they're like, oh, but what do you suppose? Like, but obviously we ran out of time that day. But what I wanted to say is, you know, right now, the optimistic side of me would have wanted Qatar. But now let's look at, you know, what we have in front of us. If Radcliffe comes in and he does a 100-day review and he does kind of an audit, and he removes any sort of bias, and he looks at everyone in a blank slate and he thinks, okay, you don't need to stay. You don't need to stay. Be it Maguire, be it any player, even Anthony. Like, remember when City signed players like Sane for big money? You wouldn't call them flops compared to our players, but when it wasn't working, they sell them. Calvin Phillips, the same thing. It's not working with him. You know, he kind of Pep left him out to dry a little bit, but Calvin Phillips hasn't said oomph to the media, nothing, zilch. Whereas Sancho, if Fergie was in Ten Hag's position and for whatever reason he throws Sancho out, would anyone criticize the manager?
No, you're absolutely right, and it flies into the face of the old player power at Old Trafford and Manchester United and stuff like that. I am absolutely 100% behind you, Shaf. I am fully behind Ten Hag. This is the man we all wanted. Let's not forget that. The start of last season, this is the man we wanted. We all were championing for him. The club wanted Poch, and we ended up getting the manager that everyone was saying is the next big manager. He's not become a bad manager over the summer. And you're right, this club does not help the managers long term. Yes, in the first season, they're getting what he wants, kind of. You know, we had to pivot on De Jong and get Casemiro, and it was still not getting every player that he wanted, and he still overachieved and did great things in that first season. I think a lot of us would have been happy with a deep cup run, maybe Champions League, or at least closing the gap on from where we finished the season before, but he did a lot more than that. So then the expectations are greater, even my own. I wanted us to close the gap on the first and second, but we have to be realistic, and we know that there's still a lot of problems at the club and the players. But Ten Hag is still that man. I don't think any other manager comes in and does great things other than a manager bounce, and then we're back where we are with the same cycle.
Two quick points I wanted to make before I forget. One is, like that what you just said there, another manager. Too many of our fans flirt with other managers. Ten Hag, Zidane, not Ten Hag, Zidane, X, Y, Z. Remember one thing, when Ferguson retired, Moyes was his handpicked selection, but if you read into it, I remember I read a book, or it was a extended article. We did actually approach Pep. He didn't want to go because he knew the structure, what it's going to be like. Yeah. We did approach Klopp, and Klopp said his wife looked at the city and looked at the way things were running, and she said no. So beggars can't be choosers sometimes. We attracted a top manager.
There was even Jose. Sorry to cut you off. And Jose, when we played Real Madrid in the Champions League, was flirting. He was coming out after the game like, "Oh, the best team have lost," and he was desperate for that job, and he was overlooked. Obviously, I think Fergie really wanted someone that he wanted, and not sort of that big name that could potentially go on straight away and have success. But no, Shav, you're absolutely spot on everything he's saying, and I think we have to be lucky that we have a great manager, and at the moment he's going through a tricky time, which a lot of Manchester United managers do, but I think he deserves at least the rest of this season to try and steer the ship in the right direction again. For me, I think he's a great manager.
Just one thing before I finish. Beth, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Chat to Faz. He hasn't reached out to me. Forget give me a ticket to the game. I want to talk to him. I want to give him some therapy. Tell him to reach out.
Oh, he's not reached out. I'll get.
He's not.
I'll get on.
I don't want to annoy him. I keep messaging him, but yeah, tell him. He's got my Discord. He's got my Twitter. Message me. We'll sit down, put it on video. We'll have a conversation.
I'll get on to Shaf. Shaf and Faz on a show needs to happen.
I'll get the popcorn.
He's been working on himself. He's been doing this challenge recently, so I know he's been doing a lot. So it'll just be busy. He won't have been ignoring you, but I'll definitely get him to reach out to you, Shaf. Thank you for being a legend and coming on once again.
Thank you so much, Shaf. Good to talk to you.
You have to be the referee, though, okay? You're the referee.
Yeah, I'll be the ref. I'll organise it. I won't be biased. I will be. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you, Shaf. And last but not least, I think we can just have a few moments to get Are You on, just because we want to make sure we get all the community involved. Of course. So are you with us? And you talking about you need to bring a striker in January?
Hello, Beth. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you. Obviously, just a quick call because we are running out of time. But take it away.
Yeah. Rasmus Højlund, he's a 20-year-old striker, right? And he needs help, in my opinion. Yep. And I think there are good strikers we could go for in January. And since Sir Jim Ratcliffe is just coming into the club right now, he needs to put down his mark on the team. And I feel like there would be someone like Ivan Toney would be someone to go for in January.
I would love that. I think you're absolutely spot on. To the fact that we put all this pressure on a 20-year-old to come to the Premier League and, inexperienced, not just in any type of football, to handle the pressure of being a Manchester United number 9 is unfair to him, and he definitely needs that help. Could we go and get Ivan Toney? I think Brentford asking for 100 million. I just don't see us doing that.
Honestly, on a serious level, a serious club with serious people in charge. I'm not saying it has to be Ivan Toney, because 100 million silly. But a serious club would have made sure we had 2 experienced strikers going into this window.
Yeah, well, even not 2 experienced, just one experience.
One experience. Yeah. You got me. Yeah. I misspoke. We should have had 1 experienced striker and Højlund coming through and getting game time. Yeah. It shouldn't have all been on him. By the way, I think Højlund's got a brilliant future, and I'm so glad we bought him. I really, really am.
I agree.
And then also, when they realise, we probably do need someone to help him out, we'll move to January and we'll have someone lined up that we can go and get. And this is what clubs do, but we don't. I know right now we don't have anyone lined up. There's absolutely
It'll come to December 31st, and that's when you're like, all right, who do we go for?
But plus as well, I think people need to not look at the fact of maybe we need another striker, because I think Højlund's doing perfectly fine. Of course, he's missed a couple of chances, but realistically, he's being provided with nothing. Maybe instead of always focusing on who is playing at number 9, let's focus on who's providing them chances for the striker.
I agree.
I'm also worried, Beth. I'm also worried about him breaking down because the way Erik Ten Hag plays is that he wants to win the ball high up the field. So that means we are going to have to strain our forwards and our midfielders that play high up. So having an alternative, someone else who's going to come in at the 60th minute or maybe play the odd cup game, would be so important for us right now. Just because he doesn't trust Martial, we're seeing that he's not getting any start. And also we've seen what happened to him, like when we play players injured previously. We've seen how Rashford's form dropped when we played him injured, and also players like Anthony Martial, who had a potential to be a Ballon d'Or winner, was playing injured.
only in his contract, nowhere else. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You are right in the sense of it. You are right in the sense of the fact of breaking down. You've seen how Højlund did come in with that little back problem, and obviously we hope that he's not bad, and he's performed really well, and no one can fault his work ethic. I think he's one of the members in the team where you really can't fault that. You can see the sprints he's doing, the pressing, but you do worry at that age, the game time does need to be managed. And Pep Guardiola is great at that.
Yeah, but you know, all these big teams have the options. They have great options coming from the bench. If Højlund's not going to be playing great every single game, and he needs that time to either come off the bench or come off and let someone else take a turn and provide United with goals, and we don't have that. And you're absolutely right. Not only doesn't Ten Hag trust Martial, I don't think Martial trusts Martial anymore. You look at him, he doesn't trust his body. He doesn't look like he gives 100%, or he can give 100%, because he fears breaking down. And we do need to get someone. I'm not going to say Weghorst like our earlier caller, because that's just crazy. But Tony, for me, would be a great option, and I think he would be a great striker for pretty much every top 6 club you could call him. I just can't.
He's also 27 right now, which is really good age, and we don't have that player who's in the middle. Either our players are too young or too old, so he would be the perfect player to nurture Rasmus Højlund into the team. We need a couple of years to nurture him into the Premier League and to make him the finished article right now.
The sad thing is, though, and Manchester United say it all the time, they don't like to spend money in January. I don't see us forking out 60 to 70 million, even more.
Unless Sir Jim comes in and does.
But we're having a new structure right now.
Yeah, but I think a lot of fans, and I've not had a say on this, I think a lot of fans are really seeing looking a little bit too much into this Sir Jim thing. We're still owned by the Glazers, we need to remember. They are still in control. I don't think Sir Jim's going to have too much of a say or influence on a lot of things, and I really don't see us splashing over 50 million in January. I just don't see that as a strategy Manchester United will take.
I honestly think Ivan Toney will go to Arsenal, and if he does, that'd be a brilliant signing for them. It's exactly what they need. I hope he doesn't. I am, like you, a huge fan of Ivan Toney, and I think he'd be brilliant for us. I really do. I think he's got everything that we need, but I don't see United being able to do it.
Sadly not.
Are you any last words before we wrap up?
Yes, it's Thanksgiving here in America, and I want to be thankful to everyone at the United stand, and thank you so much.
We're thankful for you for coming on.
Thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate it, and have a lovely holiday over there.
Enjoy your holidays.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for that. I love that. Love the positivity.
Nice way to end the show.
Happy Thanksgiving to anybody celebrating as well in our community. I know that we have a widespread audience from all over the world, so thank you for that. Also, everyone, make sure you hit a like on the video if you're enjoying the call-in shows. And not only a big thank you to our callers, because they're all brilliant, but thank you to all of you in the chat who make this the show it is as well, with all of your commentary, super chats, everything like that, and everyone who just contributes to the video, and our producer in the back who's got about 8 hands doing loads of different stuff, Ryan, at the moment. So thank you for that too. And then Double A, great first call-in show, and hopefully we'll be
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm excited to get Shaf versus Faz.
I want to see that.
I need to be. I'm going to go on the Discord. I'm going to message Shaf, and I'm going to.
I think you can sell tickets for that.
I'm going to try and organise it with Faz, and we might get something going. I'll invite him to the Christmas show, and maybe we can see something there. By the way, guys, if you've not yet got your tickets for the United Stand Christmas show, night before Christmas, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
It's a Monday night. We're going to have a brilliant time. All of the United Stand crew will be there. Me, Ricky, are you coming?
I'm coming, I'll be there.
Kev will be there. Obviously, Goldbridge, the main event, will be there. Make sure you go and get your tickets. absolutely. It's the night before the buying game. Everyone's going to be built up for it, so make sure you go and grab them.
Wait.
And also Christmas jumpers as well. Thank you everyone for watching. We appreciate you all. Have a lovely rest of your day, and we will see you on the next one.